Hey everyone, how you doing today? It is me, David. I'm here in my Beatles corner. It's actually my new Beatles corner, which is we moved the Beatles corner. So a little bit bigger, a little bit more room. Yeah, baby. So today I want to talk to you about oh, this is another Beatles music subject that's kind of I don't know. There's lovers and haters. There's people who don't know the difference. It's kind of, I think, polarizing a little bit. And that is the vinyl stereo reissues from 2012. And I'm clarifying that because these are Beatles records, like here's Help. Beatles records that are from digital remasters that were issued on CD in 2009, and then 3 years later they took those digital remasters and pressed them on vinyl. So I I do have one of the CDs from the 2009 digital remaster, which is Please Please Me. It sounds great to me. Um, and I have most of these vinyl. I'm just going to say the 2012 vinyls. All right, 2012 vinyl albums. Um, I do not have Yellow Submarine, and I do not have Let It Be, because I have the Yellow Submarine song track, which I love, and really, why am I going to spend like $25-$30 basically for four new songs? You know, when I have those on the Yellow Submarine song track. And Let It Be, I've never been crazy about Let It Be. I'll probably pick up the 2012 remaster album, that's what I call them, just for completion's sake. But I want to kind of go into a little bit my thoughts why it's smart that EMI, Apple, whoever it is, did this. So way back in 1987, we got the initial run of the Beatles on compact disc. And it was basically, they took the analog master tapes and they put them on CD, but they had to cut out the highs and cut out the low frequencies and give you a kind of a sanitized sound. First four of those CDs, Please Please Me, With the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, and Beatles for Sale were in mono, and the rest were in stereo. So, those who are kind of newbies at the time and only knew stereo, it's like, why did you put these first four in mono when stereo existed? And I knew it did because I have those albums in stereo from the 80s. So anyway, long story short, now we're going to fast forward to 2009, and the digital remasters came about, and they sound pretty darn good. The sound is kind of more updated for today's listeners and today's type of, to fit in really nice. And really, when you're working from tapes that are now 60 years old, 50 to 60 years old, actually more than 50 years old and a little less than 60 years old, tape degenerates and disintegrates, and it's got to be climate controlled. And even in the best of situations, every time that tape is played, you're going to lose quality. And so it just makes sense for, I'll just say Apple. It makes sense for Apple Records, not the computer company, to now take the master tapes and transfer that data into a digital format, just so it's like a time capsule, really. A little bit more about that is that for storage and a permanence type of deal, it makes sense. Just digitize everything. But, the master tapes are still there, and it's best that they use those. But the benefit is now if you have a digital master, you can send that digital master to different pressing plants around the world, and they get a master tape. Whereas, let's say, in the case of the United States, so Capitol Records, headquartered in Hollywood, California, would get from EMI in England, let's say Parlophone in England, they would get a copy of the master tape from Parlophone. That copy, so second generation tape, goes to Hollywood, California. Hollywood, California then takes that second generation master, or took that second generation master tape, and they made copies of those to send to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and let's say Jacksonville, Illinois. So now Scranton and Jacksonville had third generation master tapes that they pressed records from. So, but now with a digital master, you can send that to Germany, you can send that to the United States, you can send that to Mexico, you can send that down to Antarctica, you can send that over to Mars if there's a pressing plant, and you get a first generation master, essentially. And that's what they pressed these records from. Let's take a little closer look at why I like the packaging on this. All right, so here's the Please Please Me album. Just some nice touches. I mean, the photography, the pictures on this are just so nice, crisp and clear. Going to the actual record, heavyweight vinyl on all of these reissues. And something I really, really enjoy, and this is over at the previous reissues I've seen, is that they go with the vintage appropriate style labels on the records. So this is Please Please Me, and this is the first Parlophone stereo variation label. Let's take a look at another record. Okay, so we just looked at the Please Please Me album, the first album that the Beatles recorded. Now we're going to the final album they recorded, Abbey Road, and on Apple, and again appropriate to, you know, the initial release of Abbey Road. And this is the European version of the Apple label, and we'll flip it on over. So there we go, the sliced side, and then the inner sleeve. I mean, it's what was issued back in '69. I mean, just such attention to detail. We're going to take a look a little bit more at the Hard Day's Night album and do a little comparison. All right, so before we do our little comparison of the covers, the outer sleeves, here's what most of these albums have as far as their label style. The black and gold Parlophone 1960s label. So, and of course, you know, you can't pass these off as authentic because they're made in the EU, and the indicia on it specifies that it's from, 2012. So let's take a look at the covers. Okay, now this is my copy of A Hard Day's Night. This was pressed in Holland back in the 80s. And just some little things. I mean, just, I really like this album, and it's a great sounding album. But now let's compare it to the remaster. Notice the title of A Hard Day's Night is in red. The photos are a lot more sharp and vivid. So here's this picture of Paul from the 2012, and same one here from the 1980s pressing. But let's go. I'm going to flip these over to the back cover, and just notice here the photos here. I mean, this is what I was used to. They're just washed out, overexposed, underexposed, whatever. But now we go over here, and they're just crisp and clear. Let's do this here. I mean, side by side, you can tell the difference. So on the remaster, it's just that attention to detail, right? All right. A couple other things. I'm going to go to Magical Mystery Tour. All right. So as a guy who grew up here in the United States, used to the American catalog, I mean, Magical Mystery Tour is just, I mean, this is a, just a treat. Man, where's the booklet? Well, let's show you here. This is the sleeve on here. The cover is like a 2-record sleeve. So inside the front is the booklet. I mean, look at, I mean, this is just premium stuff. I mean, this is just gorgeous. And unlike what we originally got, I mean, this is heavyweight paper. This is, like I said, premium, really cool. And the piece de resistance. Oh, man. Look at that. The capital rainbow label, ladies and gentlemen. When I opened this album up, I was just, my goodness gracious, I was just in hog heaven, baby. So I'm going to show this again to you in a little bit on the video some more. But this is, I was just so excited to see this. And yeah, I mean, this is good stuff. So let's go back to the Beatles Corner, where I'm going to wrap it up and give you some more info. So, as you can see, packaging, top notch. I love the packaging on these things. Something I didn't show you close up, I mean, just little things. So, for example, this is the Sgt. Pepper album. This is the stereo, original stereo version, not the Giles Martin remaster from 2017. But, I mean, just cool stuff is, here's the original style inner sleeve. You get a nice heavy duty, the cutouts right there on heavy cardstock, and then you get a little something, because Sgt. Pepper was such an important album, you get some a little folder. This might be also in the 2017 version, but we'll examine that in another video. So you get those. For me, I'm going to go through my favorites of the remasters, my pass on them, and ones I think are okay. So for me, my favorite of these remasters, Please Please Me, the Please Please Me album sounds like the Beatles are in the next room playing live. It's that good. Beatles for Sale, best version of the album that I've heard. Same thing with Help. Best version of the Help album in stereo that I've heard. Sgt. Pepper, never cared for the American pressed mono or stereo Sgt. Pepper, but this one sounds so good, really nice, as well as Magical Mystery Tour sounds really, really good. I don't have the fabled German press of Magical Mystery Tour, so maybe if I ever get that, I'll blow this one away. The ones that are okay, and I do have pressings from the 80s of these albums, of these first three, with the Beatles, Rubber Soul, and Revolver. They sound fine, they sound nice and clean, and they sound like new, but not really, to me, any sort of difference over previous pressings that I have. Which I have from different countries. So, and the White Album sounds like the White Album. Good sound quality, just sounds like a nice clean copy of the White Album. Ones I don't care for on this series is A Hard Day's Night. Just doesn't sound right to me. Sounds a little too overproduced and not natural. And Abbey Road just sounds so sanitized to me. I do not care for Abbey Road from this set. I do like the Giles Martin version. Sounds a bit more alive, but for me, dollar for dollar, a good classic version from on Apple from the 60s and 70s. So there you have it. My thoughts on these 2012 vinyl reissues. And why should you collect them? Well, it's up to you. They are going up in price now that there's not as many of them left. They're out of print. So if you do see them, snag them. They're really nice additions to have to your vinyl collection. Clean, fresh copies. So until next time, it's me, David, coming to you from my new Beatles corner. I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you're looking for vinyl, check us out at jerseyboymusic.net. Thanks so much for watching.